since the original Scream movie killed off Drew Barrymore in the opening sequence, this franchise has been famous for its cold opens. So today I'm going to stop and rank all 6 Scream cold opens from the least best to the best. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your ranking of the Scream cold opens. My list is not the right list, it's just my list, and I would love to see yours. One quick announcement before we get started. Next weekend, I'm going to be at Fan Expo Cleveland with John Flickinger as well as Austin Burke leading 2 different panels. Information on the times is down below in the comment section. Then the week after that, I'm going to be at MegaCon in Orlando. I'm going to be there with Cody Leach, Austin Burke, John Flickinger. Also on the stage are Perri Nermiroff, Jandreau, and we got one more major announcement coming in the next few days. We're leading panels, we're doing meet and greets, all of that fun stuff. If you are anywhere near Florida, I highly recommend you come on out to MegaCon for what we've got planned. And let's get started. In last place, Scream 3. To be perfectly clear, I do think this is a good sequence. I just don't think it is as effective as a cold open, as clever and witty as some of the other ones are. But as a way to kill off Cotton Weary, it's a good little sequence. In particular, they come up with this idea where they trick his girlfriend into thinking that he's messing with her, in which case when he shows up to rescue her, she doesn't trust him.
Chris, what's going on, babe?
You've gone crazy, that's what!
That leads to like dire, horrible consequences. That's part of the reason that both of them end up dying. That was a fun little twist to throw into the sequence as a whole, but in general, it plays fairly straightforward in terms of just Ghostface shows up to kill someone without doing a whole lot to kind of turn things on its head, without subverting expectations, without kind of the wit to it. It's just a good kill sequence. I like the sequence, but in terms of these cold opens, and these are some awesome cold opens, it's not quite as clever. In 5th place, Scream 2022. Once again, a good sequence, but it is intentionally derivative of the original Scream in the way that it's set up and how it plays out in a number of different ways. The dialogue is constantly referencing back to the original film, and some of that is what kind of adds to the clever nature of it, setting the tone for this movie of what it's trying to be as this legacy sequel, legacy requel. It has all those beats, and therefore doing this as a very clear homage to the original film fits, it makes sense, but also it means the other ones I find to be quite a bit more clever because they go off the walls with what they try and do with these cold opens. But some things I liked about it. One, the use of technology, how there's dramatic shifts in what phones could do from 1996 to 2022 with text, video chat, a number of different things, as well as home technology for what you can use to lock your doors. Systems armed. All of that has changed in the last 25 years, and they actually factor that into the movie, and I think it makes for something that feels fresh and new while hitting a lot of the same beats that we did before, where you can use technology to try to beat Ghostface in new ways, but also technology can be used against you in new and clever ways. And then even changing it up, she doesn't die. She's a character that's become one of the mainstays of this era of the franchise. So once again, good sequence. I like the references, but because the other ones are just so clever in other ways, they are ahead of it on this list. Number 4, but actually tied for second, Scream 6. To be perfectly clear, I absolutely love all of the rest of these cold opens, and the next 3 in particular, they're really tied. I went back and forth in my mind on all of them. Any one of them could be second, any one of them could be number 4. So they're essentially all tied, but I have to put them in some order, in which case we'll put Scream 6 right here. And I thought they found yet another creative way to kick off one of these movies that kept me guessing, that turned the formula on its head and did fun stuff with it. So the movie starts off with Samara Weaving, who, if you don't know, was in the director's previous movie, Ready or Not. fantastic addition to the franchise to give us like a solid actress that can carry her own movie. So she gets to carry the first 10 minutes of this. And once again, they use technology, dating apps, how people meet each other, and use GPS to locate each other. And the way some of this stuff works out in a new inventive way that also kind of fits into the setting of being in New York City, where things play out a little differently and how people try and find things and go on dates. And they use that to kind of kick things off with the relationship that's kind of going on there, where she ends up getting tricked into going into an alley and becomes our first kill. So we kind of think, oh, right, oh, man, there it is. This is our new Ghostface. What's kind of going on here? And then immediately Ghostface takes off his mask. Where these movies, the formula is, it's a whodunit. Who is our killer? Like, you're always waiting to find out. And this movie, right in the cold open, right after the first kill, we discover who it is. And you're like, what? Okay, we're changing up the game. I loved that. I love that they're messing with me, changing up everything right out of the gate. And then we go back to his apartment and we kind of realize there's continuations of kind of what was going on in the previous film, only to have another Ghostface show up who's already killed his partner in ghost facing and stuff, and then he ends up dying. I thought, like, we're trying to find a new way to do something different here that plays against everything you expect from these movies. They found it. It was a new angle, and it's not just messing with movies. It's like, it tricked me, subverted expectations in the fun way that exceeded my expectations. So it's at number 4 on this list, but a different day of the week, it could be number 2 on this list. In third place, Scream 4, and probably in a lot of ways the most meta of the cold opens here, though several of these get very meta. This one does back-to-back fake openings, so meta in fact that in one of the fake openings, the characters in a movie are watching a movie, and we get to see each of these for these fake opens that lead into the actual film itself. And it perfectly fits this franchise of just messing around with movies inside of movies, cameos up top of cameos, leading into something else.
There's no element of surprise. You can see everything coming. Did that surprise you?
Perfect Scream type behavior, all leading into the actual first kill of the film. And that's what I want from these movies. Just wild, crazy ideas that would not work in any other franchise. You couldn't do this in anything else, but it works in what they've set up with the Scream movies, adding the Stab universe into them. And so you can do something as wild and crazy as 2 false opens of movies inside of movies and pull it off. Our runner-up, Scream 2, and the thing I absolutely love about this one that probably elevates it is the simple fact that this is the start of the Stab movies being this major element inside of the franchise, where the events of the first film are now a movie in the world of Scream that just, it's an idea that only works in the world of Scream. So this movie starts off with people going to go watch the first movie, essentially.
No.
Bitch, hang the phone up and star 69 his ass. Damn!
In the universe of the Scream films. I think that is just so clever. Other thing I love about this one is I like it when these cold opens play like a movie within a movie, or play like a short film, in which case it kicks off and you could just play this and watch this, and it's entertaining in and of itself. This idea of this could just be an extra on the Blu-ray, the DVD or whatever, where they have this extra idea of people go to watch Stab and they get killed at the opening of the movie. That just works as a beginning, a middle, and end in and of itself. And you throw into the mix, you got Jada Pinkett Smith and like just the recognizable faces, memorable in and of itself with the characters, even though they're only there to die in the scene, have personalities. It's clever, it's witty, and as I mentioned at the beginning, it's set up something important for this franchise as a whole. So 2, 3, and 4 on this list, in all different ways. I love different things about each one of them. As of today, I guess Scream 2 gets that second spot, but in a different mood, one of the other ones could take the spot. But in first place is the original Scream 1996. And like I said with Scream 2, this could play as just a short film in and of itself about this killer that starts off flirting on the phone.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
And then it turns into this game that he's playing, torturing her psychologically while physically murdering and torturing her boyfriend outside.
He's big and he plays football and he'll kick the shit out of you!
All leading to her eventual death outside. And even in that, it's extra horrifying because her parents are so close to being able to save her. They're so close to help being right there, but they're just out of reach, and therefore she dies. And so it's just, in my mind, probably the greatest cold open to any horror film of all time, where even just at the time the movie came out, Drew Barrymore was by far the biggest star of the teenage cast. I guess jump forward all these years and Drew Barrymore would still be the biggest star of the teenage cast in the film. And they put her all over the posters, all over the advertising. And in a sense, she stars in that short film at the beginning of the movie. And then she's immediately killed off and makes you go, anyone can die in this film. Anything can happen. All bets are off. If they just killed off the little girl from E.T., who knows what's going to happen in this movie? And it laid the foundation for the franchise with people. The characters in this horror movie know about horror movies, so therefore they realize they're in a horror film. It sets kind of that meta humor in there. It sets up the whodunit. It's all in there while having its own little beginning, middle, and end in and of itself. So I just think it's a fantastic sequence that kicked off one of my favorite horror franchises of all time and my favorite horror movie of all time in wonderful fashion. And in a series where every movie has a great opening, it is the best of the best still, so it comes out at number 1. If you want to check out my ranking of the Scream movies, you can check that out right over there. Remember, I'm going to be at Fan Expo Cleveland and MegaCon in the coming weeks. Details on all of that are down below in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.